On the go? Download the free andrewhogue.com iPhone and Android app, so we'll never be apart. This is andrewhogue.com, still Australia's only 24/7 metal radio station. And how do you introduce this man who's written some of the greatest heavy metal guitar riffs and solos in history? I guess we just introduce him by saying, hello, Adrian Smith, and how is the fish?
How are the fish? Hey, well, I haven't been fishing for a little while. I've been quite busy, but I'm looking to get out pretty soon. I've been so busy with this album and the release of the album, do lots of promo. I'm very excited about that.
I think everyone's itching to get out, but again, this record's a cracker. I mean, I've never really, been into the bluesier side of things, even though we know metal has really stemmed from, the blues itself. But the songs are so good. And what I love about this album, Smith and Kotzen, is there's just a really good realness about it. There's such it's just a really good energy, if that makes sort of any sense in the way. The songs just are really good songs. And I think that's what's lacking today in music, because there's so much people try and add way too much too quick, and this is just a really good rocking record. So how do you feel about it now, since it's now complete and out this week?
Well, we're very, Richie and I are very, very proud of it. I'm very pleased. We got together, I've known Richie 7-8 years. I live part-time in California. He lives here. We became friends. We jammed together a few times. We played some old blues stuff and Bad Company and Free and stuff like that. It's stuff that inspired me when I was a kid to pick up the guitar, And in a way, this is the album doesn't sound like that, but that was the inspiration from it, the initial inspiration, trying to capture some of that spirit. And at the same time, while we're both, guitarists, we wanted to make the songs, craft the songs, so they're memorable, and give a sort of a freshness to it. And, we had a great chemistry as far as writing goes. So that was a really a great thing. And when you find something like that, you got to run with it, make the most of it.
And again, what I love about it is the dual vocal attack, so to speak. I mean, you're both great singers, really, really good singers. Normally when you get projects like this, it's usually a singer-guitarist and then another guitarist joins and that's it. But the fact that you guys duel through that whole record, it's just like an even Steven approach of both great vocalists. I mean, fill us in on just how you've developed your vocals over the years, because, of course, you've done quite a few solo records in between, being with Maiden and taking a break as well. But how did you feel your vocals have developed over this time to how it is now?
Well, I started off when I was 15 years old, 16, as a singer, because I met Dave Murray, who was the other guitarist in Maiden. We were around the same age when we became mates at that point. He was already very proficient on the guitar, So I was desperate to be in a band with him. So I said, look, Dave, I'm a singer. I never sung before, but I said, I'll be a singer. And so we teamed up, and I used to sing and Dave played guitar. And I sort of learned guitar as I went along. But for the first 6 years of my career, I was a singer and, sort of fronted the band. Of course, when I joined Iron Maiden, I put that to one side. I left Maiden. I did ASAP when I sang on that album. I did some projects in the 90s when I was singing, but I hadn't really done it for a while. I do have a side band which I just do for fun where I sing, so it's in my blood, So I wanted to do a sort of a hard rock with a little bit of blues kind of album for a while. So. Meeting Richie, and he's an expert. I mean, he's a great singer. I mean, he is truly a world-class singer. I mean, he studied singing. He's done 20 solo albums. So, but I like bands with more than one singer. I think it's interesting. I think I'd probably call Richie, the main singer in this project. But we pretty much share the vocals, and it works great. He's got such a range. It gives us a wide canvas to paint on, and then you got the guitar playing as well, and the songwriting sensibility. So we try to incorporate the whole sort of package and try and produce this album, which we're, like I said, we're really pleased with.
Were there parts of the record as you were recording it where you would do a vocal line and then think, you know what, you want to give it a try and see, and then Richie would say, actually, that works? Like, were there moments, how did you sort of, I guess, divide the vocal takes for the record and what worked where?
Well, quite often I'd bring an idea in, say, like there's a song called Running, and I had the idea for the verse. So I'd lay the verse down. We'd when we were writing, and I'd sing it and play it, and then Richie would go, well, I've got a chorus, and what about this? Bang, It's the same with Taking My Chances. I came in with that riff, I sang the verse, and then Richie had the chorus. It worked quite a lot like that. So rather than sitting there going, who's going to sing this? It was whoever came up with the idea, and we both sat there we had microphones and guitars, and we just keep trying stuff, and literally bouncing off each other, and that's a great thing, and that's a rare chemistry. So it wasn't a conscious decision who's going to sing what. It was more or less who came up with a part. There was a little bit of a bit at the end where perhaps in whatever song maybe we'd need a more of a blend of voices, or we'd need more of one of the other in the song, but pretty much it took care of itself, really. Same with the guitar solos. We did it as and when it was needed, and so if someone come up with a good idea for a solo, they'd play the solo, So it took care of itself.
Yeah, as I mentioned at the top about the energy of the record, you're playing for the song. And like I said, a lot of people, I think some music today can forget that. It's all about, hey, look at what I can do. And it becomes very individualized, and it doesn't seem like a collaboration of a group of people, creating together, which is really what music should be about, instead of, I'm in the limelight. And that can always be clashes and things like that. But fill us in on just how this music feels to you when you're playing compared to when you're writing an Iron Maiden record.
Well, Richie and I sort of worked very closely together on the project. We didn't, apart from a couple of drum tracks, we didn't have anyone else playing it. I mean, Richie plays drums well as well. We both play bass, so we kept it tight between ourselves. We produced a record because we had a kind of a vision of how we wanted it to sound. So we were able to see through that. I mean, obviously, recording with Iron Maiden is completely different. We go in and record live now with Kevin Shirley. He records it, and then we kind of fix it up afterwards. Any mistakes or overdub solos or overdub some vocals, even some of the vocals we keep, live. And it's much more of a Maidens, let's face it, we're a pretty well-oiled machine. We've been doing it, playing together for many, many years. With Richie, we're discovering new things as we go along. So it's a very different process, But, I love what I do with Maiden, but it's just nice to do something different, with Richie.
Well, that's what I notice about the record. It still sounds you as far as, not just the vocals, but the guitar sound, but it is also different. It isn't just, here's a wasted years riff or anything like that. I mean, it really doesn't have, it's still you, if that makes sense, but it sounds like you've taken a left road instead of just kind of throwing in what you've done before, which people are familiar with in the world of Maiden. Were there any riffs that came up and you thought, I better put that over there for the Maiden box and I'll use stuff? Because, it seems like they're very different ways of playing.
I think every idea, it was unique to the project. I just get up in the morning and say, right, I'm working with Richie today, what are we going to do? And I come up with something and bring it over there, and then we go from there. I didn't really, I've got a phone with loads of ideas on, hundreds of ideas, but I very rarely use, for Maiden, or it's always more, the same with Maiden, I get up in the morning and think, we got a Maiden album to do, and I'm in Iron Maiden mode, I'm imagining Bruce singing and Steve playing bass and what that's going to sound. I'm in a whole different headspace. So it's you're exactly right. It's the collaboration and the bouncing off of other people. That's what makes the magic. It's just finding that chemistry, and it's not it's a rare thing, But once you find it, you got to make the most of it.
Now, you did mention before that you're based in between the US and the UK. So were part of this record recorded with Richie actually physically in the studio with you, or was it all sort of done online due to the pandemic that stopped everyone from getting out of their house?
No. This was all done before the pandemic.
Okay.
It wasn't done. We weren't bored. This was done. This was started in at the very end of 2018. And 2019 we started writing, and we finished it off 2020. So, and that was all before lockdown and pandemic. We had kind of a tour penciled in for April, May to go around the album, which of course we couldn't do. But yeah, I mean, we worked together. We were in the studio together. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Because like I said, a lot of bands are utilising the downtime to just write a ton of music because that's kind of all they can do because of the fact that we can't really go where we want to go. But you've also been known to be more of a homebody and not like the long, strenuous touring. So how has it been for you during this COVID time, the last, it's crazy to say, year that we've all been affected by this?
Yeah.
How have you adapted to it, and what's been the sort of big changer for you during this time?
Well, the big changes. I mean, I don't think I've spent a summer off in about 20 years, so that was kind of nice to be at home and spend the summer off at home in England. Spend it with my family and just do a few normal things. I spent a lot of time in my studio writing and playing, and music's been great for me. I'm so lucky to have it. It's a creative outlet, and it's when we were locked down, but a lot of people were struggling, But I say to people, when you've been on the road as long as I have, and you used to spending time in hotels and whatever, you get an expert at killing time. You have a lot of downtime, so I know how to keep myself busy.
I've spoken to a few other artists throughout the last year on the station, and they talk about, it has been a good reset for them as well because, most of them are touring musicians as well. But then people always talk about before the pandemic kicked in, because it is a forced situation, but you hear about musicians, when they get home, they're happy for a week and then they're climbing the walls itching to get back out. Whereas this is a situation, where there has been no other way out except to stay put until that comes. But what are you looking forward to most about getting back out there and up and coming tours and things, especially with this Smith and Kotzen tour? When was it supposed to be penciled in? And do you know if there's going to be anything rescheduled later in this year for a potential tour?
Well, we don't know yet. I mean, we did have some the idea of going out in April, around the release of the album, but just don't know at the moment because things are changing all the time. I think you have to be ready to go at a very short notice. So we'll see what happens. I think Europe is looking not so good. I mean, America, because it's a vast continent, and the legislation and the rules is sort of changed together, whereas Europe is many countries, and it's all a bit more complicated. So maybe something will open up in the States, for us to play. We'd love to do that. Like I said, we're really proud of the album, want to take it out on the road. But hey, who knows? When it's safe to do so, I'm sure bands will be going out again. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Well, Australia, we've pretty much kind of crushed it, as much as it has been painful for certain cities, especially my city, Melbourne, of having a 3-month lockdown at one point. We've pretty much gone on top of it. So let's hope that you can make your way here very soon, because we do have some tours starting. I think next month Cheap Trick are coming here, and it's kind of the first real international batch of artists coming here, I think, with Stone Temple Pilots as well. So we're starting to see things improve. So maybe take the focus off Europe and focus on coming down here, because we'd love to have you here.
I love it. I love Melbourne. I love Australia. So I'd only be too happy to go down and play. I'd absolutely love to if it's possible.
Now, as I did kick off the top of our chat, Adrian, that I mean, your career is just monstrous. It just speaks volumes. It's again a privilege to talk to someone who's just done such amazing things and also given and contributed such joy to millions of people around the world with your amazing playing. So I guess just one question: what is your proudest moment as a musician?
Wow, that's quite a question. I mean, there's all sorts of milestones. You know, we played the first Rock in Rio down in Brazil in '85. That was quite amazing. It was, I don't know, they reckon it was 100,000 people. I think there was probably more than that. You know, our first headline show at Madison Square Gardens was quite something with Maiden. There's been many along the way, you know. But you always keep moving forward, you know. You always want to be creative. I'm not the sort of person who rests on my laurels. I'm always trying to prove something, maybe to myself. You know, I never, you know, I always want to get better and keep pushing forward. You know, so hopefully, you know, I've done that with the Smith Kotzen album. I'm really proud of that. You know, it's another milestone for me.
Yeah, well, that's the same thing as you mentioned. That's what I love about Maiden as well. You don't rest on your laurels. The band's still writing great new music, and other bands are phoning it in with the, you know, their glorified jukebox of hits, and that's kind of what they do, and they run out of steam. And I find too sometimes it's frustrating that metal fans can also try and keep a band in the past. They don't want to know about anything new because it gives them a feeling of a time where they felt, you know, their best in a nostalgic way, and they don't care about new music, and all they want to do is go back to, I feel like I'm 16 again, quote that you hear constantly, which is a real shame in the sense, I believe, a lot of fans can miss out on staying present by hearing really good new music because, as you said, as an artist, you don't grow unless you move forward. So what's your take on the thoughts of that? Do you feel that kind of pressure when, all right, time to go in and make a new Maiden record, and, you know, fans are always screaming the hits? I mean the hits you have are just monstrous, but how do you go in with a fresh mind when you go and write a new Maiden record to, I guess, shut out the past, because it's pretty enormous?
It is difficult with Maiden because we've got such a big catalogue of songs. Mind you, there's always cornerstones of the set. The song Iron Maiden we've played since I was in a band. We did try and not include it one time, and it just didn't feel the same because it's a bit of a production number. Hello Be Thy Name we usually play, but I think our fans know it's important for us to write new music. I think one album we did, I forget which one it was. It was one of the ones in mid-2000s. We went out and we played the whole album on the road, which I didn't think it was a good idea at the time, but Steve Harris insisted on it. But it kind of sends a message like, you know, we're not going to sort of be cabaret and play all our old hits and just kind of phone it in, like you say, you know.
Was that the Matter of Life and Death? That was a Matter of Life and Death tour, wasn't it?
That's right. Yeah.
Great album.
That's right. Yeah. So, you know, we want to, you know, it's the lifeblood of a band. I think is playing new stuff and being creative. You know, gives everyone gives a creative outlet. So, you know, Maiden will continue to do that. You know, make new music. Obviously, you know, you want to hear some of the old songs, but then we're getting new fans all the time. We're getting young fans, you know, and they're more into the new music. So it's a very healthy situation. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, I don't have you too long, Adrian, but what would have to be, I guess, when you go back to your catalogue of music, what's one of your favourite solos that you have put to tape that you hear and just go, where did that one come from?
Well, you know, I don't tend to listen to an album after we've done it. I don't know. I'm not sure why that is, but you know, I certainly stuff I enjoy playing live, like Wicker Man, you know, Number of the Beast, Wrathchild. Always used to love playing. there's many really. Power Slave. There's so many great memories, of that stuff. Wasted Years is probably something I enjoy playing on stage. It gives me a little chance to sing as well. So there's lots of them, really.
Well, it has been an absolute privilege to chat with you again, Adrian, and we can get you to choose your favourite track from the latest album, Smith Kotzen, and also let's go a triple play from your full back catalogue. We can go with something from Smith and Kotzen, one of your favourite Maiden songs, and also something from, one of your other favourite projects, maybe Psycho Motel or, ASAP or anything. We can dig up stuff from the Adrian Smith archives.
Okay. Well, from Smith and Kotzen, maybe the song Scars. From Maiden, Wicker Man. And from Psycho Motel, yeah, what about a song Psycho Motel, I guess.
Self-titled. Alrighty, well, it has been a blast. And yeah, let's hope that, obviously we hope the whole pandemic stuff blows over eventually. And in the meantime, just talk to your booking agents and start looking towards our neck of the woods, because Europe might be out of the question for quite some time. And we'd love to have you down here, because things are starting to change here for us in a good way. And I'd love to hear these new songs live. So.
Yeah, okay. Well, we've got that in mind. Thank you.
No worries. Let's check out some Smith and Kotzen. Adrian Smith, it's been a pleasure.
Thanks. Nice to talk to you.
No worries. Take it easy, buddy.
Thanks. Bye.